Folks, listen to me, you are being lied to, with this 9-mile hole bullshit. This is 9 miles of bullshit, you are being fed. Just please use your brain, and read the highlighted area, of the treasure found announcement. Did you read it? Let's read that out loud. Moved from the spot where I hid it, and Jack says in his identity statement, I retrieved the treasure from the place I found it, in Wyoming. That's tricky language for some of you idiots, that just can't process information correctly. Watching this pathetic group of idiots analyze Rudy Green's 9-mile hole pictures is revolting. I've been saying all along, the chest was moved to Yellowstone. 9-mile hole was Forrest's hole card. Yes, the photographs that Rudy Green took are the same as the court photos. Who cares? It was moved. That is not the original spot. The end is a hoax. The person who retrieved the chest put a stick in the chest to communicate a message. The definition of stick, from Cambridge Dictionary, to put something somewhere, usually temporarily. This is the exact same language that is used on the auction site. The chest has been temporarily moved from its original location. They even use the word temporary, because they know the definition of stick is to put something somewhere, temporarily. Scrapbook 209 shows a doll with her foot on the chest. DOL, doll. Look it up in the dictionary, it means fraud. The words luscious, forested vegetation appear in this scrapbook, matching the treasure found statement. We also see the words silent, secret, removed, and seminal moment. Seminole is an aircraft made by Piper. The chest flew from one location to another in late 2019. Here is Forrest on the wing of his Piper airplane. What do you notice about Forrest's appearance? His tongue is sticking out. The Tongue River is in North Wyoming and southeast Montana, flowing northeast from the Bighorn Mountains to the Yellowstone River, 265 miles long. There are 265 gold coins in the treasure chest. This is a hint to the Tongue River. We can see Forrest on the wing of the airplane. Here is a satellite picture of the wing, from the Bighorn Mountains. The poem reads, "The end is ever draw, wing, nigh." The wing can clearly be seen by anyone with even a slight imagination. If you look up Seminole Indians, they were resettled, removed from one area, and moved to another. I challenge you to read through Scrapbook 209, it's obvious he's talking about the Bighorn Mountains. Look at the horns on the one doll. The other doll has red hair, and no horns, representing the Firehole River, in Yellowstone. The bigger thing, that Forrest is alluding to, by talking about a Seminole airplane, is the hoaxed biography of Howard Hughes. If Hugh are brave and in the wood, those fallen logs, at 9 Mile Hole, are not the correct Hugh. Hugh means to chop, or fall trees. This entire ending is a scripted fake event. Daniel Barbarisi flew a private plane to Santa Fe to check the contents of the chest. The ending is a cover-up. Daniel Barbarisi is the reporter that covered the story for the news. Barbarisi is just like Clifford Irving, who wrote the fake autobiography on Howard Hughes, the great aviation king, and owner of Hughes Aircraft Company. If you read the chapter, In Too Far to Walk, on El Mirador, you'll see that Forrest mentions Orson Welles, who did a documentary called, F is for Fake. Coincidentally, Douglas Preston grew up in Wellesley, Massachusetts. Orson Welles contains the same last name, that is in Wellesley, Massachusetts, where Doug grew up. It's obvious who paid for Daniel Barbarisi's fake book, Douglas Preston. On the auction site they talk about a book, and they say, when Doug Preston walks in the room, we begin to sweat. On April 22, of 2020, they posted a movie on the Forrest Fenn Treasure website. The movie is titled Fake. The main actor's name is Daniel Jack Orr. Amazing that we have Daniel Barbarisi and Daniel Jack Orr. You can hear Jack in the last name Jack Orr. Daniel Jack Orr creates forgeries that are sold at Sotheby's auction house. In the updated version of Daniel Barbarisi's book, Chasing the Thrill, in the epilogue, we read that Jack tried to sell Forrest's chest at Sotheby's. In the movie posted on the auction site, Daniel Jack Orr is a forger that sells his artwork at Sotheby's. He's also living in Boston, Massachusetts, where Daniel Barbarisi was a reporter for the Boston Globe. Doug Preston is also from Massachusetts. Listen to this excerpt from Daniel Barbarisi's book, Chasing the Thrill.
The author and journalist Douglas Preston has written more than 30 novels and nonfiction works. many of them national bestsellers, several of them made into movies. Before he turned to writing full-time, he worked at the American Museum of Natural History in New York. He'd grown up in Wellesley, Massachusetts, next door to the town where my wife, Emily, and I had just bought a home, so I felt a certain kinship there. Author, journalist, Massachusetts guy. He seemed like someone I could trust. Preston also happened to be a close personal friend of Forrest, getting to know Fenn after moving to New Mexico in the late 1980s. Preston found Fenn engaging, joining him in the celebrity-filled Santa Fe scene. I'd go to parties at his house, and there would be Suzanne Summers, there would be Murray Gell-Mann, the Nobel laureate. There would be all these famous people. He collected them, and they liked him because he's so damned interesting, Preston said. He also delighted in Fenn's mischievous side. Preston watched as Fenn did some elegantly questionable things to boost his art business, like finding undervalued artists, cornering the market on their work, and then hatching plans to pump up their value. He'd boost the stock in a very simple way, Preston said. He'd publish a beautiful, beautiful book about the artist, a gorgeous book, big production value. And then he'd start talking up the artist. And in fact, Forrest had a great eye, so he was able to see that these really were undervalued artists. He made so much money. Or the time when he came across a warehouse of paintings by the famed art forger Elmer DeHory. Most art dealers were repulsed by DeHory's actions and his work. Fenn went the other way, partnering up with John Connally, the former governor of Texas, also incidentally, one of the people shot and wounded by Lee Harvey Oswald during the Kennedy assassination, to profit from DeHory's work. He and John Connally bought an entire warehouse full of Elmer DeHory's fakes, and they sold them as fakes, Preston said. Famous fakes, the famous Elmer DeHory. And they made a fucking fortune. Everyone wanted one of those fakes. I've got one of those fakes that they gave to me, a beautiful Matisse, ink drawn. It's so smart. He's so smart, Preston marveled.
Daniel Barbarisi was a sports reporter for the Wall Street Journal. He was brought into the chase, much like a baseball pitcher. His assignment was to close out the chase. In baseball, a closer is brought into the game at the bottom of the ninth inning. Daniel Barbarisi was that paid closer. Look no further than Douglas Preston. On September 23 of 2020, an article appeared on the Medium website. The article was titled, "A Remembrance of Forrest Fenn," written by The Finder. Immediately after the article posted, it was mirrored to Douglas Preston's Medium page. Doug wrote in the comments section below, "Show your support for The Finder, and other authors of fiction." In Daniel Barbarisi's book, Chasing the Thrill, the term go-between is mentioned. A go-between is a medium. It is clear that the language is consistent from Daniel Barbarisi's book, to the Medium article, to the press release of The Cowboy, and in the Outside magazine article. It's as if an intelligent mind, working behind the scenes, put in motion a scripted timeline of events. We know that Jack Stoof is an onion writer. He is not the solver of the poem. What the treasure hunting community is wondering is, will there be an announcement at some point, declaring a winner? It would be insane for Jack Stoof to go under oath and perjure himself, risking becoming a felon and possible jail time.